What's up, Ravens fans? It's time to hear from you guys, the fans, in our weekly Ravens mailbag. Lots of questions this week, even though the players aren't out there on the practice fields. And the first question today comes from Facebook, and the question is from Dustin Cox, and he wants to know, could Joe Flacco have a breakout year? Breakout year with all the weapons around him. What do you say,
Yes,
Ryan?
I do think Joe Flacco is going to have a breakout year.
How can you have a breakout year when you've already signed the biggest contract in NFL history? I don't
The
understand.
contract doesn't dictate anything. I think for Joe Flacco, I mean, you could say the Super Bowl win, maybe.
Yeah,
but
Super Bowl
for
MVP.
him, it's about the stats. I think that's what you think of when you're talking about a breakout year. And Joe Flacco hasn't had that breakout season statistically. He just hasn't put up his best numbers, the best numbers that I think he is capable of putting up. There are better seasons ahead for Joe Flacco. He hasn't topped 4,000 yards yet in his career. He can definitely do that. Hasn't thrown for 30 touchdowns in his career. He can definitely do that. So yes, I think Joe Flacco can have a breakout year even at this stage of his career, and I think he will have a breakout year because he has the best collection of weapons around him.
I don't think it's a breakout year. It's the best statistical season. What is he breaking out from? Is there anybody out there who's a football fan who doesn't know who Joe Flacco is yet? That all of a sudden he's going to go and put up huge numbers? You're going to say,
but there's
wow, who is that guy?
But there's definitely those doubters. There's been that for a long time. And if Joe Flacco puts his, he had he's had many successful seasons. He had an amazing postseason run that led to a Super Bowl MVP. But he has not put it together statistically and with the wins yet in a full season. And I think he's capable of doing that because he has the best weapons that he's ever had around him.
Certainly after the season, Ryan thinks we won't be talking about whether Joe's elite.
It'll be a fact.
It'll be okay.
Be a fact.
I thought we already said that. All right, our next question today, this is from Snapchat. We're taking questions from Snapchat now. The question is from Jim Dandy 1. Do you think Kamar Aiken, Mike Wallace, and Crockett Gilmore can all top 800 yards this season? Well, Ryan probably says yes, all those weapons around him.
There's too many weapons.
They're probably going to all go for 1,000 yards, right? No, I don't think that's going to happen because you have to spread the ball around. You also have to consider that Steve Smith's still on the team. Rashad Perriman is expected to come back and play after having the injury this offseason to his knee. So I don't think that all those guys are going to be able to top 800 yards. Maybe one of the three.
I think Kamar Aiken probably has the best shot of the three.
I would also say Mike Wallace has the potential to do that, depending on what happens with Rashad Perriman.
Yes.
Because with Mike Wallace, he's that deep threat. He's that big play guy, and they can look for him to have a lot of big catches in this offense.
Yeah. The last question comes from Arnav Bista. And Arnav asks, how many sacks will Dumervil and Suggs have this season?
We're in the prediction business today.
We are. I'm going to say between 15 and 20 sacks for those two guys. I know Elvis Dumervil said they want to get back to being one of the NFL's leading duo. I just don't see that happening.
Well, 2014 was the last time they played a full season together, and they ended up with 29 sacks, and Elvis Dumervil had 17 that year.
Right.
Suggs had 12, and then you go back a year before, they had 19 and a half combined. So you're saying maybe a little below that.
Exactly. I think that when you're talking about Terrell Suggs coming off of a season-ending Achilles injury, the second of his career, Dumervil now has a foot injury that he's dealing with this offseason. He'll be back for training camp, but still, that sets him back a little bit. And both players being 2 years older, I'm just not sure that you can expect some of those career numbers that they have put up. Now, I think they'll be very solid players for the Ravens and get a number of sacks. I mean, heck, between 15 and 20 sacks, that's not bad for a duo. And there's more younger players that I think are going to get sacks too. Kamali Correa is going to get sacks. Zadarius Smith is going to take sacks away from them. Even some of the interior rushers, Timmy Jernigan, I think is going to take sacks away from them. For all those reasons, I see a little bit of a dip there from a career year.
All right, so that does it in this week's Ravens Mailbag. But as always, send in your questions to us. And like I mentioned, Snapchat, that's another way to get your questions into us. Thank you for watching, and have a great day, everyone.